Okay, so coming to Dynamics 365 advanced modules, we have warehouse management and transportation management. This is not a core module of Dynamics 365. I mean, Microsoft didn't develop this; they acquired these modules from Blue Shoe. Okay, so Blue Shoe at the warehouse and transportation module, they just acquired and added as part of the core Dynamics 365 supply chain modules. And then we will be discussing on the landed cost, which was again it was an ISV. I think it is from DXC. Microsoft had acquired that, and then they added on top of this module. I mean, Dynamics 365 supply chain management. So, to explain about warehouse management, where it can be used and what is the functionality of that. So, like there will be different industries where there will be managing minimum number of inventory to maximum level of inventories. Let me take an example of Mercedes-Benz. So, Mercedes-Benz has multiple companies, like they manufacture car, they manufacture spares, and they do services. They do all, like they're into service, manufacturing, retail, distribution, everything. Okay, so assume that like they just imagine how big the warehouse will be looking, and to manage the inventory in such a big warehouse, it will be complicated. So that's where we will be using warehouse management to simplify the process of picking, storing the item, so that the system gives an information like from where an item can be picked, where an item can be stored, and how the counting look like for an effective way of keeping the operation. If it's a big warehouse, like a worker who may not be aware like where the item has to be picked. Let's say if an item is dealing with an expiry date, he doesn't know until like somewhere it has been written that the item in this location that gonna be expired in so and so days, and only that he needs to pick. And imagine how hard it will be when you are maintaining something in an Excel sheet or a paper, right? So it will be really hard to know. So having WMS in place will help the operations team to do better. Like the system let you know from where the item has to be picked, from which location it has to be picked. It's for the picking process. Again, for placing something, I mean, once you received, you'll be placed, right? So how optimizely you can utilize the storage within a warehouse. So all this can be fulfilled by using a application. So it's not only Dynamics 365. So if you take any warehouse application, this is what it gonna fulfill. Okay, so like you guys have a basic idea like what is warehouse management now, and we will be having a handle device, like handle. Maybe you guys have seen a handle device earlier. If not, like it'll be just having a barcode reader and a display, and some will have a label printer. So that's how a handle device looks like. Within the it's sometimes like the handle device can be a Windows one, or it can be a Android one. So it will be running under Android OS. So for Dynamics 365, we have an warehouse management tab where we configure in the handle device, and the picking and the put process will be carried out in the handle device. Like any questions so far?
This recording for only marketing purpose or production purpose?
Sorry, I didn't get it. For marketing or production, what do you mean by marketing and production here?
Warehouse means we have to retail warehouse and we have to supply in production also. No? This applicable
See,
for both or
it's up to you how you implement the project and based on the business need as well. So you can implement warehouse management for a retail store as well. Okay, but
okay.
maybe if it's a big store, you can implement. But the
Hmm.
process what we do in a mobile device will be a cumbersome. Like there'll be multiple process. Like in retail, it will be a small item, and one or two items will be sold. So for every item, you can't update in an app, right? It takes much time. So it's up to the business again. But if you want to implement for the retail industry also, still you can go ahead and implement. And production also it supports, and distribution industry also it supports. So it supports all the verticals where we are dealing with the inventory. But the suggested thing is like where a huge volume of items are there and the warehouse size is big, where the better way of controlling its required, there we will go with warehouse management.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Any other questions, guys? This session, what I planned is it won't be like what you see in the screen. It will be more of a discussion, like at least to give you a basic idea of Dynamics 365 advanced modules, because I know that the simplest operations you can see in YouTube, or you can go through the blog. It will be just a few clicks where I can go ahead and show and say that okay, this is how we will be racing. But I don't wanted to do that. It's this first thing, like this demo session. What I planned is it's more of a discussion so that you guys understand what is warehouse management, what you like. All your questions will be answered over here at the basic level. Like later we'll go into the setup and scenarios and some demos. Like yeah, that's how I planned. If you guys wanted to have in some other way, the suggestions are accepted. We'll see how best we can do.
Hi, Ashok. I have one doubt here.
Yeah.
See, as a consultant, we'll join multiple companies all of a sudden. That means business is running behind like
Hmm.
that. So soon after entering into the that particular project, how to
Hmm.
understand whether they are using advanced warehouse or normal warehouse? Is there any difference to find out how
Yeah,
it will?
there is a difference. So see, the first thing is when you're getting into a project, like while getting a KT itself, when they say a sales process, for sure that will be the first question. What sales or purchase process, that should be the first question, whether they are into advanced warehouse or the standard warehouse. And if you wanted to see in the system, maybe if you go to the warehouse management, I mean warehouse master, you can get over here. If you see this radio button deals with advanced warehouse management.
Sorry,
Okay.
I couldn't see that. Could you please
Are you
highlight
seeing?
that?
Okay. See this
Yeah.
one? Use warehouse management process. Okay.
Okay, it will be
So
in the parameters. Okay.
right, this will be enabled again. See, it doesn't mean that if a warehouse is advanced warehouse, all the items within the warehouse like should be processed using a WMS app. Okay, there will be a small item which doesn't require to go into this big process of picking, packing, all those, right? And
So you
it's
mean
like
to say that you have the option of bifurcating that?
right. So to say a particular, like from here you define that this warehouse will be an advanced warehouse by default, but there could be
Okay.
multiple items within the same warehouse where it wanted to go through an advanced warehouse process, and some items a standard process, like what we do in the purchase order, product receipt. Okay, let's take a
Okay.
different example. Uh, okay, in a warehouse, you'll be getting some consumable items, right? Like a paper or pens or something like that, or a printer or something. So printer, it's not part of a stock; it's an asset. And papers, pens, and the other office utilities comes under the expense item. In case if you wanted to maintain that as an inventory, right? Every time you
Yeah.
can't receive using advanced warehouse. You don't need a worker in a warehouse to do all those. It can be done by uh, a guy who just receives. He doesn't wanted to know about the warehouse management stuffs and all. The receiving part, all those doesn't work. And what you can do is at the item level, we have another setup. I'll just
Okay.
navigate. On the storage dimension,
Okay.
uh,
So while
see,
defining the
if,
warehouse, that radio button needs to be disabled, right?
no, see again, if the warehouse, like if the business doesn't wanted to use warehouse management, then you can disable. But if the
Yeah.
warehouse wanted to use warehouse management, then for sure you need to enable that, and only for certain items it is not required to go through the process of warehouse management. Then what you
Okay.
can do is you can create another storage dimension and tag
Mm-hmm.
that item to a
To
storage
that
dimension
particular
where,
permissions.
right. So the item that falls under warehouse management, for sure it has to go through the warehouse management process only. Okay,
Okay.
again I'll say next thing that is a cache, and the items
Okay.
which doesn't want warehouse management, you can just define this and you can do a routine way of doing that, because the
Okay.
moment you enable warehouse management, you see
Yes.
all these will be enabled.
Yes. Yes.
Like you
Yes.
need to have site, warehouse, location, inventory status, license plate, which I'll explain later. But all these should
Okay.
be enabled. Whereas for the items like which I explained doesn't need all these. It never kept in a license plate. It will be somewhere in a location at least.
Yeah.
Once we have received, immediately we expense it out. Okay.
Okay.
So that's the reason
So,
we have an option at warehouse level as well as storage dimension. So only when an item and a warehouse both as warehouse management, then only it will go through the process of warehouse management.
okay. So, to be a gist of it, I mean to ask you, like for a project, they do have multiple storage dimensions based on the requirement. They will tag that particular storage dimensions to that particular item. If they need advanced warehouse, they will tag to advanced warehouse
Right.
storage dimension enabled one. If not, the
Hmm.
other one. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Any other questions in the warehouse management part?
No?
Okay. Now the next thing
Yes.
is the basic thing is, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
So what are the this topics going to be covered in this course, and what are the
So
importance
okay.
of this?
Okay, we will be covering the modules. Okay, like advanced warehouse management. Within warehouse management, we'll be discussing on how we will be received, like first the setup. Other than the setup, if I go to the scenarios, like how we will be receiving an item, what are the different way of receiving an item in a warehouse, and how you manage your inventory within a warehouse, like counting, adjustment process, and transfer using advanced warehouse, and then the shipping process and the label creation, like for the shipping or the inward also we generate a label and we stick on the item or the license plate. So all these processes we'll be discussing in the session. So this is for the warehouse management, and we'll be seeing how we will be configuring a mobile device app. Okay, there are some setups where we need to define a menu, and there are some options around that, and I'll explain how the options works and where it will be used. That will be there. And coming to transportation management, it's mostly like managing the inventory from your supplier to your place, or like how you manage the inventory on the transit from your location to the customer. Only it will be on this level, not more than that. And how the costers will be added and how you will arrive at the transportation charge using the transportation module, that we'll be discussing. And then the landed cost. So landed cost and transportation management will sound similar, but the transportation model we what we have, it's only for the local, right? I mean the local transportation of goods, not import. Whereas landed cost, it's mostly for the import process, where you wanted to add the like freight charges, custom charges to the item cost. So landed cost model will be dealing about that. So these are the three models which we will be looking. So warehouse management, advanced warehouse management of all the warehouse operations, and transportation management to see how we manage the inbound and the outbound operation for transportation. and then landed cost module.
Okay.
So what is the duration
What
of
is
the
the
course?
The duration of the course, what we have planned, it's about approximately 40 hours. But see, always like I never prefer to say that this is the time and I'll complete by this. I'll go with the process. I'll explain if there are one or two sessions which I should add more, I can, or if something is less than that, rest of the time I can spend with you to answer your queries or to explain. So whatever planned, it's around 40 hours. And the demo
transfer
session, sorry, the
orders?
training, sorry to interrupt. And the training session won't be like going through something like on the docs, just follow these steps. Like it will be mostly on the scenarios. I'll first explain the setup, show you the process, and like that's how I planned. So yeah, someone was asking a question. Sorry to interrupt.
Actually, this transfer orders and like inventory management is available in without advanced warehouse also. So what will be the difference between these two after we implement advanced warehouse?
See
This
the
inventory
way.
recalculation and transfer between warehouse to warehouse is also available there, right?
Right. So, say the standard warehouse, like the standard way of transfer orders, transfer adjustment, where you don't use a handle device and there is no configurations that are required. Whereas when you are dealing with advanced warehouse, you will be using the handle device. You just scan the item location, and based on that, the system identifies that and you key in a quantity, and then the movement of items or the adjustment will happen. So, the major difference here is the process. It's not like directly going and typing in the value in a transfer order or receiving date. Here it will be through handle device. You will be updating all the details in the handle device for the receiving part. Whereas shipping part, there is a process itself. It's like warehouse that deals with many shipments. Okay, how they do the shipping process, like what all the warehouse manager he does while processing the shipment, everything will be shown there. Like so, to say the other way, your inbound operation will cover the purchase order, like purchase receiving. Like the same way, transfer order receiving also will be there, and the shipment process will be similar to the sales process. Almost. It's,
What about regarding the
so,
perpetual inventory?
see, what we are dealing with is a perpetual inventory, right? All those, like then
Yeah,
only you will
it
have,
is including in the warehouse management, no?
right? The stockable items are part of the warehouse management.
Yeah. Can you explain about more the team?
See, we will be dealing only with the perpetual inventory. Do you wanted to deal with non-perpetual inventory?
Perpetual inventory it is included for everyday cycle counting.
See, though, as part of the inventory management, we will be covering transfer orders, adjustments, counting process. That we will be covering in
Okay.
the session.
But daily counting is not added.
So when
Perpetually
I
we
say
did not
counting,
count for daily.
sorry, when I say counting, it's daily count, weekly counting. All the counting process will be there, and there will be a spot
Mm.
counting as well, and there is a threshold based counting. We have different options there.
Yeah, okay.
So when the clients are using manufacturing things, so this advanced warehouse is not useful for them. I mean to say,
No,
when they are consuming the products and all, so advanced warehouse is not at all advisable for that, right?
no, not like that. Like advanced warehouse support for the production module as well.
Okay.
Yeah, again, it
Okay. So
depends on the business, but
how it is?
okay. See, in in the production process, there will be a process of picking. I mean, they consume the item and they get a RAF, right? The report as finished product. And once after receipt, they need to move to a
Yeah.
location, correct? And the raw materials from one location, they will be moving to
Yeah.
another location. Like, uh, the factories, what I've seen, how it will look like, there will be a separate where place or a unit where the stocks will be kept, and just within the same premise there will be another building for production. Whenever there is a need of stock, the stock will be moved from the storage location to the production unit, right? And now there is a movement of stock from
Yeah.
this location to another location, and using the warehouse management,
Okay.
you can transfer, you can consume that, you can uh, mark a report as finished, and once it is report as finished, they never keep the stock in the production unit itself. They just move to some other location, like where only the finished goods will be kept, right? So for that, warehouse
Yeah.
management will be used. But as part of our session, we are not, we won't be touching the production module related warehouse management, because I don't have much
Okay.
idea on the production process, so I don't go there.
Okay. So my question is very simple. Like, so if the client doesn't want that, we can go for normal warehouse. Is that possible?
Yeah, sure. So there are different ways to do that. Uh, One is never enable the advanced warehouse management for anything. Like if you don't wanted to, if the customer doesn't wanted to use warehouse management itself, okay. But if the customer wants to use warehouse management for the inbound and outbound operations, and they don't want it to use for production, still they can. How we do is we just create another warehouse for production, and whenever
Okay.
there is a need of stock, we move the stock from this warehouse to another warehouse.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And the another thing is, though you have enabled warehouse management at the warehouse level and the item level, still you
Mm-hmm.
can bypass that. You can go ahead and do the normal way of receiving and packing. That is
Okay.
also
So are
possible.
you going to explain that as well in our sessions?
Oh yeah, in the subsequent sessions I'll explain, because that's a basic thing. Maybe if you guys attending any interview, that will be one of the key questions that will be asked. So I'll show that, and it's needed also, because every time we can't rely on the warehouse management app. Or let's say if there is an issue and the warehouse doesn't have that doesn't work, what is the alternate
Okay.
way? How we can send the shipments? We can't say
Yeah.
that since app is not working, I can send a shipment. There should be some other way to send. We can go and manually do, but in the system itself, there is another option where we can do it. In a worst case, that will be used.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, I hear most of the questions in warehouse management. How about transportation management and landed cost?
No idea at all from
Okay,
that area.
and
So
okay, I'll just give an idea. Like warehouse management and transportation management are tightly integrated. Like there'll be similar forms what you will be seeing in warehouse management as well as transportation management, but it's not required that you need to use both. It can be optional. You can use one or the other modules. And when you are using landed cost uh, for the purchase process, the same purchase orders can be used for transportation management, because say in a way transportation and landed cost module serves the same purpose. Like one of the purposes receiving the materials from the supplier. The cost that incurs in the movement of stock from the supplier or a port to your premise, everything will be tracked in transportation management as well as landed cost. So again, there you need to take a call whether the business wanted to use landed cost module or transportation for the purchase alone. For sales, you can't use landed cost, because landed cost is just for the purchase and mostly it's for the cost. Okay, any other question, guys? Or you guys wanted to know something else on the session, or if you guys wanted a traditional way of giving a demo, probably I can give. Not today, maybe tomorrow, or from tomorrow we can start the session, the regular thing, how we wanted to proceed. Or if you guys have a suggestion like you wanted to have like this or that, please let me know.
So what is the session time planned? As a weekend or weekdays? Like,
See, I generally prefer weekday, and if all are okay on the weekends, I can give on the weekends as well. Uh, but on the weekdays, it will be 1 hour. At the same time, like 8 to 9, we can have. On the weekends, if everyone are okay, then we can have 1 hour or 2 hour sessions also. I don't mind that. But everyone should accept for that. It's not like one accept and the other doesn't accept. If anyone is not accepting, then weekends won't be there. Only weekdays will be there.
Yeah, one small appeal. Do we have any? Can we prepone the timings of training session every day, like 7 to 8?
Again, everyone has to accept, right? It's not like based on my convenient or your convenient. I just need everyone. If everyone are okay,
Yeah.
maybe we can rethink also. Or if you guys want something in the late evening, maybe 8 to 9 or something, that we can think. So just share your thoughts. We'll see what best we can do. It should benefit everyone, right?
basically, timing will be a different because currently I am in
I'm from Middle East.
Kuwait. Is 2.5 hours
Uh-huh.
uh,
Got it.
behind IST. So
Mhm.
it's 8 o'clock itself here. It will be 5:30 a.m.
I got it. So how about evening, guys? Everyone are okay with that?
Yeah, evening. What
Daily?
time? What time it will be?
No, I'm just asking everyone. Yeah, maybe after 8, I'm okay.
The evening is also okay.
Like I want everyone to answer this because I don't want her to give an odd man out. So let me know. Maybe in the chat you can ping. If everyone are okay, just update there. Else, or I'll leave to the organizer how she wanted to have. Maybe you can discuss with her as well. And 2 hours on the weekdays, I'm not sure whether. See, first of all, you need to practice. That's a key thing in here. It doesn't mean like I explain something and we all have a day-to-day activity. I don't know whether you will have another hour to try this out. Look into that. Then only you'll have some questions in your mind and you'll understand better. So having 2 hours on the weekdays, it's not my suggestion. If you guys are still want that, if everyone did that, I can go ahead and do. It shouldn't be a problem. I don't know. The organizer will reach you. Maybe you can say your suggestions, and based on that, we can go. Uh, you need to check with the organizer only. I'm just a trainer. And guys, if you anyone are planning for certification, say with this training, uh, from my experience, I'm saying you like with a training session, you can't crack a certification. You need an experience. You need to work on this app. So after having 2 or 3 years of experience in warehouse management, I gave a certification. And the certification, it's not only about warehouse management. You will see warehouse transportation, some extent on the master planning, and it will look like, mostly it will be a scenarios where you feel all the answers are correct. So I suggest, after learning the course, at least have 1 year of experience in the advanced modules, and then go for a certification. Don't immediately go for a certification. This I'm saying since someone said that they wanted to do certification.
So what is the code of this certification, advanced warehouse?
Uh, there is no separate thing for advanced warehouse. I think it's 330 for supply chain. So within
Yeah.
supply chain, when I gave, the syllabus was different. I think now it is, that has been increased. I'm not sure whether they included the master planning as well, but you can
No, master planning
just check.
is different. It's 320, I think. So is
No,
that the
now,
same for advance, I think?
no. Let me check quickly. I say one is for
Master planning is
Three,
MB
production.
now
330,
330 contains master planning also.
manufacturing
Yeah,
MB 320.
MB
Manufacturing it's
320.
MB 320.
now 330 need master planning also.
Master planning,
Uh,
yeah, it's 330. I thought it's manufacturing. Manufacturing is 320.
Yeah, yeah. Manufacturing is 320, but master planning is also
when
in
I
320.
I used to renew the certificate every year, but I remember this time they were asking master planning related stuff as well. Let us go into forum. Okay, this is for 330. See, I think they include a master planning as well, but it will be minimal. Earlier, master planning was not there when I gave a certification, but later they introduced. They added that as part of the curriculum. Okay, so we are running. Maybe we just have another 5 minutes. Does it any questions, inquiries? Okay, if nothing there, shall we close the session and we'll connect tomorrow same time?